All right, here we go. All right, folks, welcome to TWiP Pro Photo Critique number 123. This week's topic was Open General, which means whenever we do Open General, we get a ton of submissions. So this week is no different. We got a ton of submissions, and there are lots of creativity from the TWiP Pro members. Here to talk through that stuff with me is Mr. Troy Miller, partner in crime, fellow nitpicker. What's up, Troy Miller?
Hey, I was just looking at the list of images that we have. I like you and I were talking in the green room. I thought, I might throw an image in this week, and I thought, you know what? We have a lot.
Yeah. It's too many. Yeah, well, too many for you to be polluting it with your work. I'm just saying,
Oh.
Come on, this is for the family, not for the organizers. You know how it goes. So.
Okay,
Well,
fair
cool.
enough. Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah. Lots of stuff to dive in. Since we have so many, I say we just dive into it. Do you have any news or anything you want to share before we dive in?
F64 Live has officially been rescheduled to 2021. So February. Yeah, February 20th and 21st. I got to get this rhythm down.
Oh.
And for next year. Yeah, so we're bumping it to February, third weekend in February. So pretty excited about that. Going to start pushing lots of new content and getting everybody wrangled up. So that's nice. It's 7 months away. We've got to get this stuff figured out by then.
Oh, yeah. Please don't even get me started on that. Let's knock on wood. Let's hopefully everything will be sorted by then.
Yeah.
Oh, but good. All right, let's dive in. Get my mood in the proper order, because
Yeah.
I did the faux pas this morning, Troy. I looked at the news. I know you say don't look at it, but I did it, and now I'm in the I'm looking in depression caves now. So.
No. You know what you do though? You start off by looking at the stock market. Today was a good day to look at the stock market.
Okay. Yeah, maybe we'll do that. I like
Apple's
that.
$400 a share, so that's never bad.
Yeah, but if we're not here to spend it,
Okay, all right. So now we're going to jump right into the critique.
See, that's where my head is. It's like, okay, yeah, great stock market. How much of that cash can I fit in my grave?
Oh my gosh. Oh my
I know. I'm just kidding.
Everybody in the chat, by the way, I see some good names in there. I see some friends, so that's nice.
I see Dr. Pronsky in there. I see Mr. Stamfley from Brisbane is in there. Mr. Rhino. And Spicy Jello. Who's Spicy Jello? I don't understand who that is. Welcome, friends and family. Good to see you guys. Let us dive in to the critique and start going through these awesome images that we have. So I've got the critique up on screen now, and I'm going to start with the first one, Michael Duray. And these are last in, first up. This is the way they're sorted in here. Yeah. So Duray says, trapped. I shot this back in 2012 when I was still using my Pentax. I was enamored with the film look back then, probably still am. So much of the stuff I shot kind of had the same look. I always felt that the dancer looked trapped within the frame. There we go.
Yeah, it definitely does. Yeah, and expression, that expression definitely helps this image a lot. So, great timing on that capture.
Yep. What do you think? What do you think of the processing of this shot?
Yeah, I don't dislike it. I mean, I'm kind of struggling between. I feel like it's a little oversaturated, and the shadows may be a little bit too heavy, especially like in her face. I feel like the colors are oversaturating. I feel like this is a very nostalgic looking, outfit and body language and face, and maybe this would be desaturated a little bit better. A little bit softer shadows. But that's just preference. That's just my preference. I really like it, the expression. I wish it was a tad sharper in the face, though. It feels a little soft.
Yeah. I like the fact that he played on the crop. You know, we don't see that a whole lot of people actually using the edges of the frame as part of the composition. Usually it's within the frame and playing along the rule of thirds and all that. But you know, I like that he's used the box to trap the subject. It's kind of cool.
Right. And it definitely adds tension. And this is some of the things that we talk about a lot is, you know, you crop to give a sense of space or a sense of tension. And this definitely, as the title implies, trapped, right? There's tension there. And the body language fits the mood. So really great capture.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Thank you, DeRay. All right. Next shot up is from Mark Charette. If I can click my mouse. Mark Charette says, heading to Cradle Mountain, Tasmania, Australia, shot in February of 2012. Still one of the most amazing places I've visited. You know, I still kick myself. I had a chance when I was working at Adobe. I had a chance to go on this trip. It was an asset building trip, Troy. It was a trip where we like commissioned a bunch of photographers to go out to Tasmania and create images for an upcoming version of Lightroom. And I was the new guy funding the trip and in charge of the trip, but it so happened that trip coincided with the Photoshop world. So I was like, Tasmania as the new guy, go out having fun, or, you know, go rub elbows with the muckety mucks at Photoshop world.
So what would your current self tell your past self if you were able to share some advice?
Go to Tasmania. Because every time I see a shot like this, it's like, oh man, I could have been there. I could have gone there. Could have put a pin in the map in Tasmania, but I didn't. So,
my God.
And it turned out Photoshop world was like, it was fine, but it wasn't Tasmania, you know. So,
no.
Speaking of this depressing shot,
we get so derailed. I love the shot. I love that. For me, the path or the road in this shot is really what makes it. Having that hook, that leading line, that draw into the forest, you know, those things that I want to be on, and I want it to lead me into the image. I'm not a huge fan of the fact that the horizon is in the middle, though. So I feel like we need to lose like half the clouds, and then it would really bring our attention on that road even more.
So you think the road is a main character in here? Yeah, I look at it and I see. I agree with you, because the balance is clouds, kind of mountains in the middle, and then foreground of grassy area. I agree going one direction or the other, like pan up and show me more dramatic clouds. Those clouds are fantastic. Like, so pan up and show me more of the clouds, and maybe have the road kind of start, you know, towards the bottom of the frame, or pan down and show me less of the clouds and more of the foreground area. So I don't know. It's interesting. What about the color treatment?
I don't know that this needs to be color. I think this would be better black and white, and then, you know, make it sort of dark and moody, and then bring out that road. And again, this is just me seeing that road as the hero in this shot. Yeah.
I don't know. It feels like, you know, maybe on that knoll, that grassy knoll in the foreground, it needs a bride in there, right, Troy? It's the bride.
Yes. Absolutely. Yes. You could put Stephen Sharf's new amplifier sitting right there, you know, as a product shot. That's where you're going to put your, you know, a new bike.
There you go.
Right. Your motorcycle right there, you know.
Yeah. See? Now we're on the same wavelength. See?
Alicia's new cat. Yeah. You could put anything in there.
Yeah. Alicia's cat sitting in there. I love that. All right. Cool. Awesome shot. Thank you, Mark Charette.
Yes.
All right. Next shot is from Armando. Wait, what'd you say?
Sorry. I said we got to give Mark kudos for not entering a 360-degree photo.
Yeah, he's got range.
Yeah, I know. He always does that.
Armando says, ancient city Muang Boran, Thailand, one of the world's largest outdoor museums, features a 200-acre city with 109 scaled-down copies of Thailand's most famous monuments and architectural attractions.
Wow.
That's gorgeous. Look at that.
Beautiful. That is beautiful. You crop off the right side, half the right side, and you're done.
What's wrong with the right side? What are you talking about?
The the building is too much in the center for me, and I understand, wanting to capture the reflection and everything. But the right side of the image really doesn't do us a whole lot of good. I understand it shows that depth over there, but if you crop it off maybe half of it, what it does is it creates more of a focus on the building, and then you see the bridge on the left. So the building is primary, the bridge on the left is secondary, and there's nothing else to really compete with you like what you would see on the right side of the frame. So, I mean, I love it. I love it. I would just simplify it a little bit by taking out that building on the right.
Would you content aware fill those clouds or those trees out of the upper left-hand corner?
I struggle with stuff like that, probably. If there wasn't something complementary on the other side to kind of bring it in, I feel like it's fingers or something kind of encroaching, and it's kind of, in my view. Yes, I would definitely want to take those out. The more I look at them, I'm answering myself. Yeah. Come out.
Yeah. I was looking at this and I was thinking, man, if you use content aware fill to remove that foliage in the upper left, and then use Luminar to put some clouds in there, it'd be amazing. But then I'm like, no, I actually like it as shot. And if you did put clouds in there, then you'd have the issue of reflecting those clouds in that water and making that realistic, which would probably just ruin the whole thing. So
yeah, that could be,
I like it.
That could be tough. Yeah, you could definitely do it. I mean, if you're going to take this into a competition that would allow you to do that, or you wanted to just really take this to the nth degree, right? Then you'd put there and make sure you get the reflection.
Yeah. What about that spire on top of the on top of the building? Do you think that's too close to the top, or does that bother you at all?
Yeah, of course it bothers me. It's a little tight, but I appreciate the shot the way that it is, in the sense that, the horizon is in the center because we're trying to get the reflection. I love all, and that's kind of why I feel like cropping off the right side weights this image to the right third, and then I'm okay with that tight top and bottom because I appreciate the reflection. And then the bridge is in the center, and that to me is like the secondary character in this image.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which you could put a bride on, or you could put like a on, or every image.
You could do a. Did you ever? We talked about this before. I forget what you said. Did you ever do that? I remember wedding photographers were doing that whole trash the dress thing a while back. Would you have a bride jump in this water and mess the wedding dress up?
No, I never did those. It was never something that we had interest in doing. Like, nobody ever really wanted to do it, and I think that their dresses were special to them, and they, we couldn't imagine trashing one. So no, never went there.
Cool. All right. Well, thank you, Mark Charette, for that. Or I'm sorry, that was Armando. What was I thinking?
Armando, yeah.
Armando Brook for that shot. All right, Michael Brown. Michael Brown says a Carolina Wren. I love these shots. These shots are so simple, and this is just like that luscious, long focal length that just makes the background just melt to goop. I love it.
It does. Yeah.
I know what you're gonna say though. Can I channel Troy Miller for a second?
Yeah.
You would probably say two things about this image, maybe three. I'm gonna leave the third one up and see if you say it. You love the image, as do I, but you would say that dark smudge in the lower left-hand corner, it's probably part of the bokeh, but it's a little distracting. So you would either smooth that out or blur it to make it more match into the background, so it wouldn't draw attention away from the subject. One, your OCD is triggered by the post that the bird is standing on not being perfectly perpendicular or vertical. So you'd rotate it a little bit to the right just to make that straight up and down. And then the third thing is you might shift the cropping or the frame a little bit to the right to put the post a little bit more in the center of the frame. I'm thinking that's a wild one. Not sure.
Why am I even here? You just gotta do my voice now.
I can do it. I can do your voice. Was I right? Did I nail it? Did I nail it?
You got all three of you got the 3 out of the 4.
Oh, what's the fourth?
It's over sharpened. It's a little
really?
bit over. Yeah, and the telltale signs are kind of the grittiness that tends to show up in the feathers. And there's a difference between focus sharp and post sharpening. And there's nothing wrong with an image that has a softness or a smoothness to it, right? We'll call it that, not a lack of focus. And I think sometimes, we tend to want things to be too crispy and too sharp, and then it gets pushed too far. This would definitely print beautifully well if it had some of the sharpening pulled out. Right now, with the sharpening, I think that when you print it, you'll see some of those artifacts are going to show up, like in the eyes and the smooth tones of the beak and the feathers. So,
but does it matter? Like yeah, I get that, the over sharpening and how it might translate to artifacts in a print. But if this is never destined to be printed, where does your brain shift to when it comes to sharpening? Then would you still say it's over sharpened or right on?
If you're going to put this on Instagram, no, it's not over sharpened. If you're going to put this in a critique where we're going to look at it really, really big, yes, it's over sharpened. I mean,
okay.
It just depends on the use. It's fantastic. It's beautiful. It's sharp beak, mostly the tail. The feet are sharp, so it's a great bird photo. But it just a little heavy on the sharpening.
Yeah, I like it. I don't know. Maybe I'm less OCD and nit-pickery than you. I'm just looking at it. I'm like, that's sharp. I like the bird. I like it. But I do. Those things I mentioned before are the things I would correct, like the smudge at the lower left and rotating it just a smidgen especially if you're going to put the post that close to the edge of the frame, so that we can literally see that it's tilted to the left a little bit. I would rotate it just a little bit.
Right. Maybe take a little of that top off too. It's a little big, heavy.
Yeah, a little off the top. Yep.
Yeah. Cool. Craig Stanley in the chat is asking you to do the voice.
You know what? I will do the voice, but I will save it for the member mixer. So
he's not going to forget that.
That's a behind closed doors thing, So this is public. Everybody can see this. So. All right, here we go. The next one is from Jack Hubbs. Jack says, sunset in Swarthmore, Pennsylvania, DJI Phantom 3. I was just reading about them this morning. DJI Phantom 3 Pro, Phantom Pro, 6-picture bracket processed in Photomatix, Topaz denoise, followed by gigapixel border by Photoshop. Yeah, I was reading about the troubles DJI is having because they're a Chinese company, and they're being hit by all the politics and stuff.
Yeah.
Let's take a look at this guy.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I'm not going to say anything. I'm not going to channel Troy Miller on this one. I want Troy Miller to channel Troy Miller. What do you think?
Everybody knows already. It's not like you can hear me say it before I say it. I love the image. I love the fact that the sun is off to the right, and it's off on that right thirds. What is really challenging me is the horizon is dead center, and I feel like we have two competing images in here. Right, we have the sunset with the foreground, which is beautiful, and then we have the sunset with the sky, which I actually think is the hero with this image. So I'm a big fan of taking off half of the bottom or 2/3 of what we call the trees, right? And then really just give us the sense of, the sky and then the tree line. I feel like it would be a better story.
There's something about those trees in the foreground. I don't know. I think it feels like they're hazy but not hazy. Is that an artifact of just HDR processing, or they don't feel crisp, but then they're sharp. I'm not sure. You see what I'm saying?
I do. I think what it is, I think it's the denoise. I'm just going to guess that it's the denoise. If you push your denoising too far, especially like in trees and things that have really, really fine patterns, we'll call them, textures and noise. Sometimes they can be removed, right? They can be reduced because it's not actual grain. It's actually the texture of the trees, the leaves and things. So you've got to be really careful with that. I think maybe that's what's going on in that foreground, because the trees do look a little soft.
Yeah, that's the thing. They look soft, but not soft. It's almost like a layer of haze or something. I don't know. But yeah, but it's yeah. And then the sky. Where do you fall in the sky? Because it's like it's saturated on purposely saturated. But then we have like the sun is blown out as suns tend to do. What do you think about that? The upper processing.
Yeah, that's really rough. I mean, shooting into the sun with anything other than, the highest end sensor is going to be tough, right? I mean, the sensor in this particular camera is not capable of handling the tonal range. So there's really not a lot you can do with that. You just kind of got to live with that. I have in the past, like with my drone, when I've shot into sunsets, I've actually gone in and replaced the sun, just because you can't shoot into the sun and get a nice, beautiful sunset. It's rough. Yeah, it's going to be rough.
And then last but not least is Tim Engel brought up in the chat the border on this shot. I was going to bring that up, but the border. Someone on TWiP Pro said it was a Nat Geo border, which is close, but their color is a little bit more. It's a little closer to orange, I think. What do you think?
No on this border. It's too bright. It's too loud. And colors to our eyes is like sounds to our ears. And there's certain colors that are just hot, and our eyes don't like to sit on them very long. So the sun is enough. The sun is enough hot in there. It's enough bright tones. In color, this border really doesn't need to be that bright. So, I mean, what
would you have done? What would you have gone with, like a black border, a white border, or a border? Because my thought was he sampled that, sort of this area around the corona, if you will, around the sun, and used one of these colors in there to create the border from. So he's trying to make that play on the sun and the border, would be my guess. I think from my perspective, it would have been more effective if he either went with a deeper orange color, like maybe from this area, or even just went with a green, or just a normal border like black or white. What do you think?
Yes, absolutely. So the green wouldn't work because the trees would have intersected it and we wouldn't have seen it. Been great. But what I would suggest in this case is next to the image, you put a 3 to 5 pixel orange or very light yellow border, and then you do like a 10 pixel black. So you'll see a hairline separation from the image to the background.
Or no border at all.
Yeah, or well, or no border at all. It looks like he has a black. Looks like he has a really thin black border on here, actually. So what I would do is I would flip that. I would make the fine border the yellow or the orange, and the yellow the black, and it would look great.
Yeah. Cool. Very cool. See, we got some good shots in. I love these shots.
Don't say Corona.
Yeah. All right, let's go on to the next one. Jack Hubbs, thank you, sir. Stephen Scharf is up next. All right, Stephen says, Tetons and Trees, Grand Tetons National Park, Jackson, Wyoming, October. Some old Fuji XT1 thing. All right.
I know right where that's at.
That. Really?
That is beautiful. Yeah, that
is gorgeous. That is gorgeous.
Yep.
Needs a horse running in the foreground.
Or one of the bison.
Or some bison, yeah.
This is, Jacksonville was one of those kind of places and around the Tetons where you walk around, it's just absolutely stunning. It's so beautiful, and there's so many wonderful places to shoot. And then I think about how terrible it would have been to live there, in the wintertime, right? Like just the ability to live back in the day would have been so tough. But this is really fantastic. I really appreciate the two elements that we have, the trees on the left and the mountain. So we really have two heroes in here, and you can kind of pick whatever's your favorite, because they're both well represented and they don't really compete with each other. And then the horizon is nice and low, and our foreground leads us into the frame, and then the sky is sort of kind of caps it all off. So I'm really excited about this. I like this.
Now look at this border and give me your thoughts on this one. Is this the proper application of a border and a key line?
Yeah, this is great. This is perfect. Yeah, this is perfect. Wow, yeah, this would do well in competition if anybody's listening.
Hey, I want to go on record to say that very rarely does Troy Miller, the OCD nitpicker, use the word perfect, and he used the word perfect on the Steven Sharp. So you should pat yourself on the back.
Yeah,
Very
I would
cool.
say before this image is entered in competition, you removed some of those dust spots right
Oh, so
above
it's
the.
not perfect. Oh, I see. Yeah, right, there's one right there.
You asked me
Yeah.
what I thought of the border. I said the border was perfect.
Oh,
The image is nearly perfect.
that's awesome. All right, touche, touche. All right, Stephen Sharp. It's still a gorgeous image.
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
Eric Pronsky, Dr. Pronsky, is in the chat still, I think. Here's his shot. Let's take a look. Wait, is there a caption on this one? My mouse is acting crazy. Okay, he says, Connie Cullen. Connie is playing Down by the Sally Gardens, written by Irish poet William Yeats, in front of Yeats' desk at the Thur Ballylee Castle in County Galloway, Ireland. Shot with a Sony A7R3. Let's take a look.
I know you can
See this when I first saw this shot, you know what I thought like, you know, because I was looking at this sitting at my desk here, which is like the bridge of the Enterprise, and you know, it's very technology laden. And when I saw this shot, I was like, to yearn for a simpler life. where you're just playing a flute or a recorder next to some bushes. You got your hat that you've had for 10 years on. You know, it's just relaxing. That jacket looks like it's just form fit to him. You know, this whole shot is just very, very relaxing. And I could almost see this shot as a painting too. Like, because it's that timeless. It could totally be a painting.
Exactly. And you know, this image has so much personality to it. I really love the mode and the mood and the feeling. I do think we have too much window. I mean, I appreciate the fact that we've kept those vertical lines in the windows really nice and clean, and they're, you know, they're straight up and down. He's really tight to the left, so having all this extra space to the right really doesn't feel necessary. I think if we crop to the middle of the middle frame of the window, we would be better served, and bring the tones way down, way down. I feel like we're trying to get too much detail in the shadows. Bring it down so we have just a nice edge light mask from the window, and let the shadows go dark. Just let
Make
them
it more
go
moody, right? Let's go really moody with it.
more natural, right? Like I'm gonna guess, and I'm just, you know, just sort of like projecting myself there, that the shadows here are darker because the shadows behind him in the corner are very dark, which means his right shoulder, our camera left, the back of him, should be dark as well. And it looks like they've been dodged. It looks like there's been some Photoshop work to bring up the shadows on the side facing us. And I don't think we need that. I really don't.
So on the crop, just back to the cropping, so you would crop off like how much of the window on the side?
To the middle of the middle frame. So there's three.
So
there's
like
three
about right here.
Yeah.
It's about right there, right? Okay.
Yeah. Because right now you've got two subjects in the frame and they're split dead center. So you've got him on the left, which you could literally crop it right in the middle, and you have this nice, beautiful window light portrait of him. Or you could crop it and have the right and have this really beautiful window. And
yeah, that's right.
For them both to have equal focus or equal real estate in this image. I would definitely crop
What about
off.
color? What about color? Is color helping this shot or hindering it?
I think it works. I think it works both ways. I think color is really beautiful for the portrait element of this. You know, seeing the skin tone and the color of the blue color of his T-shirt under there and the flute and everything. I do think it would be much more moodful if it was monochromatic. So I would try that and see how that makes you feel. You know, is to see how this best represents your story for this person. I see this as kind of an old world type of story, even though it might be very modern. So I have a sense that I really want to take this monochromatic and moodful and, you know, film noir kind of style. Like let those shadows fall really dark and mysterious. It's all there. Everything's there. Every story we're telling is there. So
Yeah, I think little details. Like I agree with you. Like if you took it monochromatic, the focus would be more on the subject, which is the gentleman there. And also, if you went monochromatic, things like the blue plastic of the mouthpiece would go gray, so you would know what color it was. With it being blue, it kind of takes me out of the old worldness of it just a little bit, right? Because like, did they really, So it kind of makes it a little bit modern. But if it's grayscale, then you don't know. It's it just sort of falls in.
Yeah, you can buy into that a little bit more, for sure. And it looks like to me, if you look in the frame of the window at the top center, there's a warm reflection. So I'm thinking there was either lights in the room, and so I would take that reflection out for sure. But there was either lights in the room filling in the shadows, or there was an intentional strobe there to fill in the shadows. So just things that just things the image tells us. But I really like it. Yeah, it's really wonderful.
Eric Pronsky is in the chat. He says, I did bring out some shadow and I did crop some of the window, but not enough. Thanks for the comment. He also says he's going to give black and white a try. Yeah, I want to see the black and white revised version in TWiP Pro.
Yeah, I mean, I can even see cropping out that entire window. Play with it a lot.
Yeah, there's a couple of shots in here for sure.
Oh, yeah.
Even a tight shot on just the musician, right? Like a portrait. If there's enough detail in the original file to crop in or punch in closely on him, that'd be nice.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, sir. Next shot up is from Craig Stamfley. Craig says, Annalise.
More
infrared. Yeah, infrared. Look at that.
Okay, can I pick my favorite now?
This is your favorite, really? Why? Because it's infrared?
Yeah, I just love that look. Yeah.
Yeah, look how blown out the whites are. They're really blown out in the stream, but there's some detail retained in the actual image on TWiP Pro. Yeah. And I think you're just hypnotized by her eyes. That's your problem.
I am. You know what? The thing is I love the look. I love the head tilt, the slight parting of the lips. It's a very attitude type of casual shot, but it feels very personable, right? This person feels like somebody that you could talk to, and that she's fun to photograph and engage with. And I also know how difficult it is to photograph in infrared, and we just don't see that a lot. So the creative use of the infrared in this case, to me, not only is exciting, but it's well done. It's a legitimately well done portrait. So,
From a standpoint, a portraiture standpoint, looking at a shot like this done in infrared light, like from a scientific standpoint, infrared light is not bouncing off the surface of her skin. It's actually going down a level and reflecting down there, which and correct me if I'm wrong, I'm just going by what I've read, which helps to reduce the number of imperfections that are recorded in the final image. Is that fair?
Yeah. And it also depends on how the camera is converted, on how much visual light is reflecting off the surface of her skin. So I don't know what nanometer this camera is converted, but yes, essentially you're getting less reflected off the surface and more reflected subsurface. So it's more of like an internal illumination when you deal with infrared. And I'm going to guess that these eyes were either composited in or they were worked, because normally eyes in infrared go really dark because you don't get a lot of infrared light coming back out of the eye socket, so they tend to go dark. So
Craig, let us know in the chat what you did here. Is there some Stamfley trickery in there, compositing to get those eyes back? I'm curious.
It also depends on the conversion of the camera. My cameras are converted to, I want to say, like 590 nanometers. So I get a lot of visual light. So I get a combination of both, and I can kind of edit in both realms. So
yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, good,
really cool shot.
Good use of shallow depth of field too. I mean, you can see her earring is like a little fairy. So there's enough detail there, but her lips, her eyes, her nose, her eyebrows are all in focus. So that shallow depth of field is really nice, but it's well controlled. So
I'm curious. Joshua Sommerfeld is in the chat, and he does a lot of really excellent work with 3D and 3D models. Is it possible to simulate infrared in a completely synthetic environment? Like, can you say my light source is not, it's not daylight. It's giving off infrared, and then this surface over here is responsive to, this nanometer of the infrared wavelength. Can you do that, I wonder, in digital, or is it impossible? In other words, can you simulate infrared photography in a 3D application? That'd be interesting to know.
Yeah, that would be very interesting.
Joshua, you have the knowledge. Let us know. Cool shot. I love this though. This is really cool. You should do a whole model shoot in infrared. I wonder what that would look like. All right.
We just haven't seen them all.
Yeah, you froze for a little bit there, by the way. I think you're having bandwidth issues, maybe.
Oh, no
Or it might
bandwidth
be
issues.
me.
That's not.
It might be me. I don't know. All right, let's get through this before we before we lose the stream. All right, next shot is Lamb, and Lamb says my entry for photo critique 123: open front side mirror of a truck after raining the previous night. Shot with his Nikon 1.
I like that. The abstract nature is so cool.
Yeah. Would you have punched in a little bit to get more abstract, or keep it like this?
No, I would keep it like this. I like the fact that I have to kind of think about what it is. I see the mirror, I see the vehicle in the mirror, in the bubble mirror, and then it just takes time for me to kind of figure out what's going on. I just enjoy the abstract nature of that. I do wish we had the top of the bubble mirror, or is it in there? Oh yeah, it is. Okay. I didn't click on the image. That's my bad. Yeah, no, I like it the way it is.
Yeah.
Even the little cobweb in the corner, in between the two mirrors.
Yeah, I dig that. Very cool. It just goes to show that, you don't need the grandiose wide open spaces of Wyoming in order to get good photographs. They're everywhere.
Yep, exactly. Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Lamb. All right. This next shot by Nora Zanotinus freaked me out a little bit. I'm still not sure. So, this one freaked me out. She said siphon detail on a Lewis's moon snail. Oh, let's bring this up. See, that it just freaks me out. I don't know why. It looks like an alien. It's like something you'd find like, oh, we went hiking, and then you look down and that's growing on your foot. You're like, oh my God.
It's growing on your foot. I thought you were gonna be like, oh, you look down and there's this thing on the ground, and you're like, no,
it's growing on your big toe. You're like, how'd that get there? I knew I shouldn't have walked through that patch of flowers or walked in that creek.
I shouldn't have stepped in the lake, in the pond. I shouldn't have gone in the pond.
Exactly. This is cool though. What a great close up though, huh?
Yes, yeah. This is actually really cool. I'm kind of thinking it needs a little bit different crop. No, not like that.
That's the stuff of nightmares. This is that alien egg opening up, getting the face hugger getting ready to jump out and get you.
The face hugger. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Or it's a portal into another dimension right there.
It could be. Yeah.
That's what the aliens are going to look like when they come get us. The fact that it's so foreign and so alien to us, and yet
it's organic.
It's really beautiful. It's really cool. I would definitely say go in tighter. The white on the right half of the frame, is a little bit distracting. I think that the darker color really helps offset, whatever the subject matter is. It's nice and sharp, and the depth of field falls off wonderful. So I would probably say push in a little bit tighter, and just let it be. Let people freak out or not know what it is. I think it's super cool.
Yeah, yeah,
I feel
it
a little
is.
heavy. It's a little heavy to the left side of the frame. So, I wish it wasn't, or I wish it was like dead center. That would work.
Yeah. Now I need to go look up these snails. I want to see what this thing looks like. Ugh.
Oh man. Oh man.
I love it. I love
Good
it. I love it.
good job, Zor, figuring that out, like getting that shot. That's great.
Yeah, Nora, thank you for that. Thank you. All right, next shot up. The next shot up is Peter Levshin, who's labeled himself mental case. Look at that, mental case. Doing a disservice to. All
Yeah.
right, here we go. Oh, what did he say? He said Sony A7R2, Mount Ijen, Indonesia. Early morning, the cloud coming out of the mountain is sulfur. It's from a sulfur mine. Oh, wow. That must have smelled fantastic.
Wow. Wow. What a what a great foreground subject. That tree and the
Mm-hmm.
ground elements, because it's dead and it's all gnarled and everything. I really feel that the tonal range of this image is a little flat. The steam cloud or the sulfur cloud that's coming out of the center really is the hero of this shot, and we need to bring up the highlights in that ever so slightly.
Mm-hmm.
Just so we have some more depth in the tonal range.
Yeah, yeah. You know what this shot reminded me of? Jeez, I can't remember who the Disney character was that Angelina Jolie played with the crowns on her head, the big horns on her head or whatever. I forget what the name of that. I'm gonna remember right after we end the stream. But
Mermaid in the Little Mermaid, was it the?
no, 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 no. She played this evil queen, and I should know this. I should know this.
Yeah, she
But
was not
anyway,
queen. The purple queen was an octopus.
maybe that's the one I'm thinking of. Yeah, maybe you're right. I don't know. I don't know. But this reminds me of that scene. It reminds me of like when she's like doing an exposition of her evil plans. She'd be walking around a scene like this. You know.
Oh
It's
yeah. Yeah, this
yeah.
this is great. I mean, graphically, graphic, Maleficent. Thank you, Tim.
Yes,
Uh,
Maleficent. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
yeah, yeah. It's these are one of those kind of images that are very photojournalistic in nature because we don't know the story. It's not immediately identifiable to us, so we have to kind of take it at face value. So you build drama in there with the shadows and the perception, and the perspective. So really, all we need now is we just need some more depth in the image through the range of tones. So
Mm-hmm. Well, it's complicated. When you look at the shot, most times you want to look at a shot you want to immediately grok what's going on in it. And like we say when we're doing these critiques, most shots benefit from having a hero or a star and then a cast of supporting characters behind it. This one, you're not sure, like you were saying, is the star the sulfur cloud? Is the star the gnarly branches in the foreground? Is the star the mountains in the background? So there's a lot going on here. Like, what's that liquid area off to the bottom right? Is that a lake? So your brain, my brain at least, is kind of trying to figure all this out. So
right, right.
simplicity rules, I think.
Right, exactly. Yeah, no, I really dig this image. I do see in the sky, and I don't know if it's coming from, the web compressing, but it looks like the clouds have clipped a little bit. So maybe it was pushed a little too far. The tonal range in the clouds are kind of missing. We're not getting smooth edges. They're kind of harsh. So
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I have to look at that. But yeah, I
Cool
like
shot,
it.
Peter Levshin. Peter has so many shots. That guy has been around the world like 50 million times. It's crazy.
Yeah, trust me. I've seen his library. It's difficult.
Massive.
Yeah.
Next shot is from Joshua Sommerfelt, who's in the chat. And Joshua says, "Lost in thought." He shot this with his Canon RP with a Sigma 150 millimeter. Let's take a look at this. Look at the detail in that. Jeez, that's crazy.
Oh, and
Look
this
at
is
that.
I love the tonal range in this. We can see each and every scale, and we can see, the gradation of tone in the shadows as we move from, right where the leg is on up to the ear and then the eyes. It's like all that tonal range in there gives us depth and makes us feel like we're there looking at it. So yeah, it's really, really wonderful. I'm wondering if we should crop a little bit off the right, let that pole or stick or reed or whatever terminate in the top right hand corner. I'm not sure that dead space, all that vacant space on the right.
I thought you were going to complain about him cutting off this guy's lower body, since you hate amputations, Tim Ingle, right?
No amputations. Now if we were seeing like a hind leg and just a little piece of it, I might have a comment there. But no, I like this the way it is. Plus, it's soft, so the bottom half of the image is nice and soft. So we don't really need to look there, right? We're really drawn into the eyes. We're really from the nose to the ear to the eye in the middle, and then even just the very beginnings of the claws, or is that what you call lizard claws? Lizard hands or claws?
Yes, we'll go with that.
yeah, lizard hands and claws. Yes. Yeah, it's really wonderful.
Nice.
Nice black and white
cool.
treatment too. It's really good.
Yeah, I was going to mention that. Yeah, it's like spot on in terms of the tonality. It's not the detail is retained in the shadows where it needs to be, and also in the highlights and those light colored scales where it needs to be.
Right.
So, yeah, very nice. And it looks like he threw a little bit of a vignette on here. I don't know if it's a blurred and a darkening vignette, but it feels like there's at least a darkening vignette just subtly around the edge to draw you right into, this guy's face.
Yeah, and as you know from the darkroom days, I mean that's where the vignette and the concept of burning really comes from, is to bring our attention to the center of the frame, and this does that very well. And I really appreciate the highlight along the back of our, but I don't know, I keep calling it a lizard, but is a lizard or a gecko but
just say reptile. It's fine.
Yeah, that edge light, right? Because without that edge light, whether it was intentional or just a natural cause of the environment, separates from the background. And again, that's one of those really wonderful things where it tells our brain like there's depth here.
There be depth here. That's a Star Trek reference, if you didn't know.
I was just gonna let it go. I was just gonna let you have
that. That was Scotty. That was Scotty talking about whales. There be whales here. That's my best Scottish accent. Sorry.
That's good. You should stop there. Yeah.
You should just end it. Don't take it any further. All right, Joshua. Thank you, man. That's a cool shot. And thanks for closing off the critique or the mixer last week. That was awesome.
You did great.
Mark Harris is up next. Mark Harris says, dragonflies in formation made during a recent walk in a local park for the general critique topic. Nikon D850. Lots of Nikons in here.
Yeah.
Don't say anything, Troy. Don't say anything.
I can't say anything.
Okay, so what's going on? Okay. You know what? When I first saw, when we look at these images for critiques or contests, we tend to look at them, or at least I do. I look at them from far away, or with the image relatively small, to see what jumps out at me, because then I instantly can grok what the subject is supposed to be. This one I didn't. When I looked at it, I'm like, what are those things sticking up? What's going on? And then you read the caption, then you look and you see the dragonflies flying in formation. So yeah. So I get it. What do you think?
I love the concept. I mean, I like what we have going on here. I'm not a big fan of the right half of the image. So I feel like the really wonderful aesthetics of this image is the left half, where you've got that stick and then you've got that one dragonfly. So for me, I would crop it right up the middle, clean up some of the little bubbles or schmutz, whatever's going on in the water there. And then you've got this really wonderful twig that's mirrored, and then you've got the dragonfly that's mirrored. So it's just the left half of the image. That's really my favorite. Right half is too busy with the moss and the stick and whatever's growing out there.
Yeah. By the way, Tim Ingle is texting me. He said that the feed looks low resolution. If anybody else is in the chat is having feed issues, let me know. Not that I can do anything about it, but it'd be nice to know. All right. Next shot. Thank you, Mark Harris, for that.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Mike Doran is up next. And Mike says, my submission for the open critique. This was shot several years ago during the ALMS series at Laguna Seca Raceway. This was late in the afternoon on a Saturday during the race. I was using the 1DX and the EF70-200 F282. Let's take a look.
Nice.
Always tack sharp. Look at that. These guys are like, these motorsports photographers are just the masters of panning. Like panning and keeping your subject just like razor sharp. Look at that.
Yeah. Yeah. I love the fact that the car, the front, the very, very, very tip of the front is slightly out, but pretty much everything from that front ethanol logo to the Troy Lee logo in the back is tack sharp. It's super, super easy to read. I love that. I do wish there was a little more room in front of the car than there is behind, even though it's ever so slight, but there is a little more room behind. I think that either center it or slightly more room in the front. But the panning, the background, having that nice streaked, blurred motion sensation is really nice, really well done.
Yeah. Yeah, that's really cool. What do you think about the tilt of the image? Obviously, that was intentional, and I'm guessing he wasn't going downhill when he shot this. So that's a crop, right?
Yeah, I'm okay with it. I think it's just sort of it's up to the artist, right? It's a creative decision, how much tilt that you want to have on it, whether it's actually tilting or not. I tend to prefer things like this that have a slight tilt up because I feel like they're coming in. But it's just preference. I don't think it really matters. What would really matter is what would the driver want, or what would the sponsors want that your photo or the track, what serves their interest best and what sort of fits the styles that they're showing.
I thought you would have said, I agree with that, but I thought you would have said, because you always like to have room in the image. I'm channeling Troy Miller again.
Yeah.
You like to have a little bit of room in the image, and you tend to like especially on a motorsports shot like this, to have some place for the car to go if it's in motion. So in the case of this one, the car would be slightly smaller in the frame and sort of balanced to the left a little bit, so it looks like it's moving into the frame. Is that, or does it matter with a shot like this if it's more about the detail of the vehicle itself?
I think that it comes down to what your purpose is, but definitely with a vehicle like this, it's tight to the front, camera left, and there's a little extra space, camera right behind the vehicle. I feel like we need to shift the car to the right, camera right, and have a little more space in front, or make it the same, one or the other. I just don't think that it works having that extra space in the back. It comes down to use. But yeah, this is a great shot. It's really nice.
Yeah, you're right. It comes down to usage and what's the ultimate destination for these pixels.
Right. Definitely lots of commercial real estate for putting words in there.
Really cool. All right. Oh, Stephen Sharp says he was going downhill. That's the corkscrew. Oh, wow. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, and that's kind of like I was referring to the facility. If this is a very recognizable location based on the tire wall and things like that, then of course you have to have that downward tilt because the fans know where that is on the track. So you want to be true to the area or to the nature that you're photographing. Yeah, absolutely.
That's cool. And that's why we have the chat, the doing live streams. See? Thank you, Stephen, for setting the record straight there. It's perfect.
Yeah.
All right. Next shot, second to last, is Michael Rhino. And Michael Rhino says, my submission for this week's open critique is from Dream Lake in Rocky Mountain National Park. I hiked in the dark along a snow-covered trail during Memorial Day weekend in 2017. This was recently reprocessed in Capture One. Look at that. It's that intentional moody. Like it. This reminds me of Yosemite.
I know. I love these shots. And I'm just going to get it out of the way right now. Is anytime I see big landscapes with pine trees and mountains, like I feel black and white. That's just just where I go. That's my Ansel Adams influence. And I do think that black and white could work really, really well for this image because of the graphical nature of the snow and the reflection in the water. You'll get really nice dynamic contrast and graphical elements in there. But this is pseudo monochromatic in the sense that we got a lot of warm tones and a little bit of green in there, so it's not too far off from allowing us to see that. I really dig it. I really do. I wish we had a little bit more detail in the haze at the top, but there's really nothing you can do about that, right? That's the mood. So
yeah. I dig it a lot. I like the color treatment a lot. The sort of warm haze, it gives you that feel of a morning right after a fresh snow, being someplace like this, and that that fresh smell of the water and foliage and all that, and you're just sort of standing there having your cup of coffee, looking out, like dreading going back to your cubicle.
You can't smell anything there. Not for us. California.
I know. Yeah. It's such a
to
nice
me-
shot. This is one of those shots that would look good big, right? So hanging in a house or in a hotel or any place or gallery, just printed big so that you could just get lost in the details.
Right. And Tim Ingle says that he loves the color, and I do too. This is one of those images where I would have to play with both to see. And when I'm preparing a final image or a portfolio image or an image competition image, I put them up on the background of my computer, and I look at them all the time, and then I switch them and change them. I know some guys actually print them and look at them over time because you see different things, right? Like I think in black and white, you're going to see that tree on the right. I think that the highlights on that tree are going to pop out a little bit more, and you might see like that as a secondary, character in your image. So you really got to play with it.
Yeah. All right, and we're going to go on to the last image. Tim Ingalls submitted an image at the 25th hour. So let's go find that. Before we find Tim Ingalls' image, everyone, please give us a thumbs up on this image. Looks like we got one hater in there that gave us a thumbs down. Maybe they don't like your opinion, Troy. Maybe that's it. I don't know.
That's fine. See, take that as a compliment.
Yeah, there you go. All right. Tim Ingle says, you say open? All right. Oh, what are you doing, Tim Ingle? Look at that. Look at that. And this is Tim's political statement of not wanting to wear a mask. That's what this is. That's what this is.
Okay, I'm trying to figure out what's going on here. I'm not sure where the hand on the girl on the right is coming from. I mean,
I thought it was the girl on camera left hand. That's what I thought. Tim, tell us.
I don't know. Yeah, I love the masks. I love the color palette of this. I do wish that it was just bring the shadows down. Let the shadows go really dark on this. It looks like some of the shadows were tried to be brought up around the model's left eye, or is that just like an effect going on there? It's hard to tell. It's hard to tell. I think maybe that's the benefit of this image, right? I think that's the highlight of this image is that I don't know what's going on. It's kind of weird. It's Tim weird. So, but I enjoy all the textures, and the mask is very appropriate for the times.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I dig this. This is very illustrative, right? Tim's work is Tim's a commercial photographer, so this is very commercial and saleable work, I think. I want to know where these steampunk masks came from, because those are awesome.
Probably. Oh, Tim says the girl on the left has the hand on the girl on the right. So because I didn't know that, because the girl on the left her eyes are not making contact with the girl on the right. Like I would think that if you've got your hand on somebody, you would be looking at them, right? There would be some connection there. And that was what I was looking for. That's why I thought it was a little confusing.
Yeah, no, for sure. Cool. All right. Well, we got to pick a winner. What do you think?
How do we pick a winner?
I'm leaving it to you. I can't pick a favorite child.
No, you can't leave me.
I like Stevens. a lot. I like the Christmas of it. I like them all. I like Armando's. They're all pretty amazing. This Nora's is freaking me out still. Joshua's, the detail in those scales is ridiculous. And this Michael Rhino's, it's, painterly. So I have a lot of favorites. So Troy Miller, you got to pick. It's on you.
I really like Joshua's lizard. I really do. I think that the texture and the depth and everything in there is just really fantastic. It's hard to pick, but that one stands out to me a lot. It's either I've got to go with that.
It's got to be the lizard. All right.
The lizard. Yeah. I would let you pick
right.
between the lizard and Stevens because I love them both, and they kind of fit that look.
Let's bring Stevens up again. Where is it? Where is Stevens? Stevens. There it is.
Yeah.
You can see that's gorgeous too. That's gorgeous. I could see that lizard in this landscape somewhere. Oh man! All right, we'll go with your first pick. We'll go with Joshua's because they're all fantastic, but we can only pick one. If I can find it, there it is.
There you go.
There.
Nice.
There you go. Right there. Cool. All right. Well, there we go, man. That's cool. So that's the critique. That's critique 123. And Joshua Sommerfeld, congratulations on being this week's favorite. Good work, Joshua. You need to you need to do a gallery show or something, because over the years I've seen just sort of stunning work happen over and over again. I need to what? You know something I don't know? I saw that. What?
We're gonna have when PAC finally gets launched in Santa Ana, we're gonna have a TWiP gallery showing. We haven't done that yet. So
very
you and I
cool.
can talk. We have more ideas. We always have.
Okay.
Ideas.
Yeah, let's definitely talk. Yeah, there's a lot of cool work in there. Speaking of cool work, we're at the top of the hour, so that means this critique is just about wrapping up. What's going to be our topic du jour for next week, Troy Miller?
Have we done reflections?
We probably did, but not recently. You want to do reflections?
I like reflections. Yeah, I think reflections would be really cool. And
you know what? I have a better idea.
Yeah.
How about this? Since we have 22 people right now watching, and not that many, but enough. It's our community. And we have a bunch of people in the chat room. What do you think the topic for next week? I'm crowdsourcing it. Chat room, what do you think the topic for next week should be? Should it be reflections/reflective, or do you have a better idea? So this should be interesting. This is the first time we've ever kind of put it and crowdsourced it, huh? Let's see.
It would be better if we gave them 3 choices and then let them pick.
Too late. It's too late. All right, the first couple that come in, we will consider those. I don't see any coming in yet. But there's like a 30-second delay on the stream, so we'll see.
There is. Yeah.
There we go. Fire! Okay. What the heck?
Steven, if we don't understand it, we can't do it.
Steven, you can't be speaking in Borg, man. You gotta speak. Michael Rhino likes reflections. Tim likes reflections. Armando. Armando, I didn't know you were in here. Hey. Nice. Reflex in. I send this way. Okay. All right. Looks like we're going to go with reflections.
Yeah. Reflections or mirrored images, something of that nature. Because I think reflections are kind of like mirrored images. Yeah. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Something in that wheelhouse right there.
Cool. All right. There we go. Reflections or mirrored images for critique number 1, 2, 3. Cool. All right. Let's end this one. Let everyone get on with their day. Happy Monday, everybody. Have a great week ahead of you. Troy Miller, any parting thoughts you want to share with the folks before we end the stream?
Be safe. Enjoy your day. Enjoy your Monday.
All right. Cool. Yeah, I'm going to try. I'm going to try to stay off the news.
No news.
You know what the antidote to like getting depressed by watching news is? Science fiction. I'm going to go watch me a good science fiction flick. Somebody was recommending I watch the movie, it's one called Fracture. Have you heard of Fracture? And there's another one called, well, I know the one called Gone Girl with Ben Affleck in it. Have you seen that one? It's like a thriller.
Haven't. There's one called the Tower, I think it's called, on Netflix. Is that what it's called? The Tower? I love that one. I love that one a lot. That's really good. Or just go back to a classic like Blade Runner. Go watch Blade Runner.
There you go. The original Blade Runner or the remake?
The original Blade Runner.
Oh, with Harrison Ford in it. Okay. All right. There you go. Well, that's going to make me depressed too, because I'm going to think that's what we're heading towards. In that case, I'll just go watch some Mad Max, right?
Oh, no. Yeah, don't do that. Don't do that.
Or Contagion. How about Contagion?
Oh, I can never watch those. Oh, The Helix. You should go watch the TV series Helix.
Oh, no. Crazy. Yeah. Even the art for that freaks me out.
No.
So I don't know.
No, not very. Yeah, it's not very timely to be watching that, but
maybe I'll give Doctor Who another chance.
Yes. Just jump a couple. Don't start with the new one or the old one. Start with the new one and skip the first season.
You know what I tried to watch? We're totally off the rails now. I tried to watch Batwoman, I think it is. Batwoman, the movie or the series, the new series they came out with. Couldn't do it. It just didn't work. It didn't work. Not only it didn't work, but it was I sat down with Cameron because like, hey, Batgirl, she's gonna dig this. Not necessarily safe for 6-year-olds. I was just gonna say.
How much is? Not even Nickelodeon is safe for 6-year-olds.
But I'm like, a superhero Batgirl empowerment for little girls, it's just like, oh, come on. Can we just have us like fighting bad guys? Whatever happened to Batman and Robin, all that cool stuff.
Right. No, the movie I was thinking was called The Dark Tower. It's called The Dark Tower. I like
Dark Tower. Ooh, Stephen Sharp says watch The Last Kingdom. Okay. All right.
Ooh, got a couple. All right. I made a note of that too.
The Last Kingdom. Okay, cool. All right, folks, we'll let you go. Thanks everybody for hanging out with us for this stream, and we'll do, like I said, we'll continue doing these as much as possible, the live streams of the critiques and a couple of other things. So thanks a lot, and have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Yep. Take care, everybody.